wake me up to another good morning. Time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. 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 We are all
Hi, I'm Michael Lane, and this is another episode of the web series, Toward a More Perfect Union. This episode is called The World's Poorest Rich Nation. The United States is the wealthiest nation in the world with the highest gross domestic product, GDP, of any nation, yet is the world's poorest rich nation. Why? Because America is the only developed nation that is not a social democracy and has few public goods, meaning they make minimal investment in its citizens. Public investment in people lies at the heart of a modern society and is how prosperity happens for the great majority of a nation's people. The US is the only developed nation in the world that doesn't have universal health care, mandated paid sick time, mandated maternity and paternity leave, subsidized child care, a system of affordable housing, and other aspects that are public goods. Instead of universal health care, the US healthcare system is profit-based. Because of this, medical costs can be exorbitant, leading to a large number of people having to declare bankruptcy due to medical expenses. In fact, medical bankruptcies are the largest cause of bankruptcies in the US. It's commonplace to see people doing GoFundMe campaigns to help pay for healthcare. And debt is a way of life for Americans. Medical expenses are one way to incur debt. Another is going to college, which racks up large debts and student loans. And at the same time, consumer debt is sky high in the US, currently totaling $17 trillion. On top of that, over 65% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, making them one potential mishap away from possibly becoming homeless. The reason that the US is the world's poorest nation is because the economic system does not focus on the common good, but instead on GDP and economic growth. It's about letting the free market reign and how more profits can be extracted, as opposed to how there can be a social contract that provides public goods for everyone. Back in the 1950s, Americans were sold a bill of goods.
It's another reason why we say at General Electric, progress is our most important product.
And that free enterprise would make everyone better off and happier.
Giving the American people a far higher standard of living than that enjoyed by any other nation. And let us be reminded that the key word in each is freedom. All Americans should clearly understand how each freedom works in our system, and how vital each one is to our economic welfare and our happiness.
There was one national leader who knew that GDP was a worthless statistic, Robert F. Kennedy. In March 1968, when Kennedy ran for president, he gave a deeply impactful speech about GDP. Sadly, a little more than 2 months later, Kennedy was killed, and with his death, the US lost the opportunity to rethink GDP as the measuring stick for a country's vitality. This is what RFK said in that speech.
Too much and for too long, we seem to have surrendered personal excellence and community values in the mere accumulation of material things. Our gross national product now is over $800 billion a year. But that gross national product, if we judge the United States of America by that gross national product counts air pollution and cigarette advertising and ambulances to clear our highways of carnage. It counts special locks for our doors and the jails for the people who break them. It counts the destruction of the redwoods and the loss of our natural wonder and chaotic sprawl. It counts napalm, and it counts nuclear warheads and armored cars for the police to fight the riots in our cities. It counts Whitman's rifles and Speck's knife, and the television programs which glorify violence in order to sell toys to our children. Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children, the quality of their education, or the joy of their play. It does not include the beauty of our poetry, or the strength of our marriages, the intelligence of our public debate, or or the integrity of our public officials. It measures neither our wit nor our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning, neither our compassion nor our devotion to our country. It measures everything in short, except that which makes life worthwhile. And it can tell us everything about America, except why we are proud that we are American.
This chart shows the US GDP as the highest of any nation. And yet, this chart, which shows the percentage of GDP used as public investment, shows the US is far down on the list of nations, number 102 to be exact. Without a healthcare system as a public good, medical bankruptcies are commonplace in the US. Because of low public investment, the US has the highest infant mortality rate of all developed nations. The low public investment shows up in life expectancy of Americans. America ranks number 54 out of all nations in life expectancy. But there is one place America is number one: military spending. This is Michael Porter, chair of the advisory board of the Social Progress Index. This is what he has to say in looking at the quality of life statistics of the US. Instead of America offering a helping hand to its struggling citizens, it instead looks down on those less fortunate. Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz said this, while a Fox Business correspondent spoke about being poor in this way.
And I'll be honest, if you're poor, stop being poor. You know, get a GED, have a job for over a year.
Right, right. So if you're poor, just stop being poor.
That's a good idea.
There's one more thing we must do to make America wealthy again. And you have to be wealthy in order to be great. I'm sorry to say it.
And you could say this is the Republican Party's platform for helping people. What happened to the American dream?
Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Until next time, thanks for watching. You can help support this web series by going to patreon.com/mwayne, and you can see all the videos at moreperfectunion.com/webseries or at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MichaelWayne2. Find me also on social media where you can easily share it with others. Thanks a lot. See you next time.